was diagnosed with Parkinson's, I decided to give myself a new nickname, Lady Shakes a Lot. But I also started to think of, in a few minutes you'll notice that my left hand shakes, I have a tremor in my left hand. So I decided to start thinking this as a superpower. What could I do with the superpower of a shaking left hand? I could be a bartender, specializing in James Bond martinis. Shaken, not stirred. A few James Bond fans in the audience. I could be a championship thumb wrestler. No one would ever be able to catch up with my thumb. And my invitation to the royal wedding must have gotten lost in the mail, and I was all ready at the royal wedding. I could be a miner. All I have to do is hold the pan and the gold will shake out. I could work in a morgue. Every morning I'd go in, check all the bodies, shake them, make sure they're still dead. Let's talk about advertisers and the lies they tell us. Diamonds, Santa Claus, and baby formula. I name those stories so they're easier to remember. So diamonds. By 1938, De Beers had a near monopoly on diamonds. They weren't allowed to advertise with their name or with diamond jewelry because of antitrust laws. So they started doing something like putting fine art with poetry next to it to make you associate loving relationships with your diamonds. A few years later, they discovered that men spend less on diamond rings if their fiancé is with them. This is counterintuitive. We would think that women would try and sweet talk a guy into spending more money on a ring, but that's not what happens. I think what's going on is women think, okay, our finances are going to be joined now. This money's coming out of my pocket too. So what did De Beers do? They changed their ads to emphasize having the guy surprise her with the ring. So he goes shopping on his own. When I got married, we didn't have much money, and I actually didn't want a diamond ring. But when we went into jewelry stores, we had trouble getting a clerk to wait on us, because I told them right off, I don't want a diamond ring. Finally, somebody took pity on me and showed us some nice carved gold bands, and that's what we got. I didn't get a diamond ring until my mother died. Now I have her diamond ring, her mother's diamond ring, and her grandmother's diamond ring. So I did eventually get diamonds. Santa Claus and Coca-Cola. So Coca-Cola decided they didn't just want their drink to be consumed in the summertime. They also wanted it drunk in the wintertime. So they came up with an idea of having Santa Claus hold a Coca-Cola. So children would associate Coke with people would associate Coke with drinks in the wintertime. And this is good because they used to have cocaine and wine in their beverage. They didn't have it in it anymore, haven't for over 20 years. So this erased the last vestiges of Coke and wine association with Coca-Cola. But imagine if you tried to put a cigarette in Santa Claus's mouth, or a drink in Santa Claus's mouth. That would never work. So Coca-Cola at least had the right icon to associate their product with. What I'd like to know is, did they ever pay him for endorsing their product? And if not, why not? And what would a lawsuit look like if Santa Claus tried to collect? Already, 500,000 children write letters to Santa Claus in New York City alone every year. Imagine if Coca-Cola got sued by Santa Claus. Their website would break. But that's not what happened. So there's good little girls and boys will still get their presents from Santa Claus every year, and we'll still see those iconic Santa Claus and Coca-Cola ads. So infant formula. So in the early days, there used to be a lot of maternal deaths at childbirth, and that meant you had to feed a baby without its mother anymore. So although breast milk has always been the most nutritious baby food, there were times when breast milk wasn't available. For a while, they used wet nurses. If somebody had a baby within the last year, they could nurse another one. The formula company started trying to come up with an emergency food for babies. So they started using evaporated milk, and that was fine. And they said in their ads, breast milk is best, but if it's not available, use our evaporated milk product. And then they started tweaking the evaporated milk product because it didn't have all the nutrients needed in it, so they started adding all the nutrients that were missing. And eventually they came to the point where they said, formula is better than breast milk because it's been scientifically formulated. It's got all these nutrients in it. And that's where we were in 1968 when my first son was born. So when I went to the hospital, they stopped my milk with a shot in the hospital, started my son on formula, and sent me home with a free starter kit. Until the government realized that they were advertising that it was better than breast milk. I said, no, you can't do that. It's not better than breast milk. Breast milk is still always the best. You're not allowed to say that. So things changed. And so now instead of where it used to be 90% children were nursed, and then it was 40% in the 60s, now it's back up again. So by the time my second son was born, I nursed him, and that was 11 years later. And the complete atmosphere changed, so I nursed him for 7 months. Then I started to wean him, and then he bit me. That was it. Thank you. I'm Carol Covin. You can find me on YouTube. You can find me on Facebook. You can find my book, Who Gets to Name Grandma. We're on the corner of Prospero's and Amazon. Thank you very much.